Today we are kicking off my December 12 days of tutorials that I do every year here on my channel. If you don't know what 12 days of tutorials is, pretty much in November I put out a Google form where I had you guys vote for the palettes that you want me to use. So a lot of these palettes that I'm using throughout this entire month are all older eyeshadow palettes that my audience picked for, and the voting is done by now. So I go through your votes and I pick out the top 12 palettes that got the most votes, and then every other day in December I'm uploading a new eyeshadow tutorial with one of those palettes. So I wanted to start off the series this year by using the most voted for Huda Beauty palette, and surprisingly it was an older palette, and that is the Rose Quartz one. I love that you guys picked this palette. I think it is so beautiful, and I have done many tutorials with this on my channel. So after you finish this video, if you want some more inspiration with this palette, I'm gonna link all those videos down below for you. And then as always, I also list and link all the products that I'm using down below. So let's get started on this eye look using the Rose Quartz palette. All right, let's dive into this palette. I do have a look in mind using a lot of the neutral shades, and then probably Blissful as like a little pop of color, because I think this shade is such a standout from the palette. I'm gonna start by picking up Gratitude on a crease brush. So I picked up the shadow on the flat side of my crease brush, and I'm gonna start by dusting this shade all across my lid. Then I picked up a little bit more shadow, and I'm going to bring this up towards my crease. And then once I have most of that shadow laid down, I'm just softening out the edges with the crease brush. Then I'm picking up more Abundance, but this time more on the tip of my crease brush, and I'm gonna run that across my entire lower lash line. I'm pretty much just trying to start with a soft wash of this color all over, and then I'm gonna deepen things up, add some shimmer, but just starting with this shade as a base. Now on the same brush, I'm going to pick up Radiate, and I'm going to apply this shade throughout my entire crease just to kind of soften out the Gratitude shade. And this shade is really just smoothing everything out, giving me a softer look to my crease. And then I'm also bringing Radiate along my entire lower lash line. Now on the same brush, I'm picking up Aura. I picked up this shade on the flat side of my brush again, and I'm going to add this to the outer and inner part of my lid and leave the center of my eyelid blank. And this shade is just adding a bit of depth because I do want to do a little halo eye today. And you can kind of go as deep as you want with this halo eye. You could keep building up this Aura shade, or you can add that Mantra shade on top to deepen it up even more. And then also bringing a little bit of Aura along my lower lash line. I am loving how these matte shades are looking on my eye. They look so smooth and the blend is perfect. But before I add my shimmer shade, I'm going to take a little bit of the NYX Glitter Primer and just do a light layer of that on the very center of my eyelid. And then I'm going to pick up the shade Blissful. I'm starting with a little bit of the shade, and I'm going to put that right on top of the glitter primer on the center of my lid. Oh, so pretty. This is definitely my favorite shimmer from this palette. And then I'm going to go back to my crease brush and just kind of soften out the edges of the shimmer. And you could go pretty heavy with this shade if you want to. I'm just trying to keep it a bit softer today, but I feel like this still has so much impact. Now I picked up a tiny bit of Blissful on my brush. You can see the sparkles there. I'm just gonna place this a little bit higher. I'm pretty much above my crease right now, just for a little bit more of this kind of scattered effect. And that's the fun thing about these kind of shades, is that you can really pack it on with your finger if you want it to be intense, or you can dust it on with the brush for something a bit softer, just kind of depending on your mood. And personally, I kind of like a little mixture of both, where it's pretty packed on my lid, but then as it goes up towards the crease, it kind of scatters out a little bit. Now I'm going to pick up Mantra on a small angled brush, and I'm going to stamp that along my entire top lash line. And then I'm also going to stamp this shade along the base of my lower lashes. And then I'm just lightly softening that out with the tip of my crease brush. Then I'm going to add a nude liner to my waterline, and this one's by Makeup Forever. I went ahead and popped on my mascara and lashes, and for my lash, I'm wearing the Bright Lashes lash in Flutter. Now this lash is more of a 3/4 lash, where it's not going to be an entire long strip lash. It's a little bit longer than a half lash, so for me, it kind of starts right here and then goes to the outer corner, but you can totally trim it to be more of a true half lash if you like. And then I did also add my favorite highlighter shade to my inner corner and my brow bone, and for that I used the shade Bright from my palette with Sigma, just because there's not really a good highlighting shade from the Rose Quartz palette for me. And here's the final close-up of the eye look. Alright, the full face is done. Here is the makeup look complete. On my lips, I'm wearing the Makeup by Mario lip liner in the shade Smoky Pink with the Makeup by Mario lip plumping serum in the shade Nude Glow. And I am just loving how these eyes turned out. I feel like this type of style of eyeshadow is very on trend right now, where you kind of layer a lot of matte shades down and then just pop one stunning shimmer on top, and I love the effect that it gives. I love that you guys picked this palette, and I think it's funny how this was the highest rated Huda Beauty palette, even though there's been a couple like more recent ones. I just think it's so cool that people are still loving this palette even years after it launched. Alright, that is going to wrap up this video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on my 12 days of tutorials this month. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.